The Jim and Terry Show, once again without Jim. You can tune in shortly. Just a couple of days, Jim will be back in the Hobbit hole. The Jim and Terry Show, the Jim and Terry Show, not the Terry less Jim Show. What's in my mind today is fake news. Yeah, but this is the kind of stuff that you can actually measure, and anyone could actually measure this stuff. So let's start with a little soundbite from Trump's rally in Wildwood, New Jersey, home of Bruce Springsteen.
Is there anything better than a Trump rally? If some of these wackos came along, these liberal singers said, actually vote for me. They all vote for me. They say, oh, Trump, I don't know. Like Bruce Springsteen. We have a much bigger crowd than Bruce Springsteen, right? Much bigger.
Mind you.
All right, there's where we start, and we'll pick it up from there. My question is simply, numbers don't lie. Now, there are a number of ways you can assess crowd sizes. I was part of a protest during the Mike Harris years in Ontario, and we bussed teachers down to a conservative caucus meeting, a rally, strategic planning meeting in Hamilton, and we were told that our numbers were, 10,000 maybe, but aerial photography by the Ontario Provincial Police released crowd sizes, the same as their protest. Teachers again rallying in Nathan Phillips Square. We were told, a small number were gathered, several thousand. But again, the police aerial photography shows the size, and you can estimate, and they have algorithms to determine crowd sizes. And we're talking about tens of thousands, not the few thousand. So exaggeration for effect, yeah, it works in all kinds of ways. It either works against you or it works for you. In this case, the Trump rally in Wildwood, New Jersey, home of Bruce Springsteen. I'm not particularly a devotee of Bruce Springsteen. I do like his music and, some of the tunes, and Jim's, sorry, Jim, you're absent. You would be able to add some color commentary to this discussion. But Bruce Springsteen draws his own crowds. The same place, the same venue that Trump held his rally in New Jersey has a designated capacity of 20,000. And again, if you take the overhead shot of the crowds, you can see it is much less than even half of the designated roped off area for the venue. So the license is for 20,000. To say you had 100,000, well, that wasn't where the reports. They were talking about tens of thousands, the GOP, but eventually, because the boss, not Bruce Springsteen, the boss, as in the thug boss, Donald Trump, said 100,000. It's a much bigger number. Sounds great. 100,000. Lots of zeros, and he likes zeros. Well, yeah, the 100,000 started to be the talking point, and it was repeated ad nauseum from right-wing media to right-wing media. That's from OAN to Newsmax to Fox, making its rounds from GOP congressmen to GOP senators to people attending Trump's criminal trial in New York, also quoting the 100,000. Trump himself coming out of the courtroom mentioning 100,000 that the mainstream media won't report. Well, yeah, the mainstream media did report the crowd size in Wildwood, New Jersey, and it wasn't 100,000. So numbers do matter, and you should be able to prove your claims with either photographic evidence or some evidence. Ticket sales, I guess you could fake tickets and say, oh yeah, we got 100,000 stubs. I'm not sure how you prove it, but aerial photography of crowds, yeah, that's been done. When was it done before? Trump's first attempt at exaggeration was to compare his inauguration crowd size, if you recall that claim. Unfortunately, his speaker at the time was forced to promote that falsehood. Bigger crowd size than Obama, twice as big. And so you rely on aerial photography of the crowds, and you realize that there are photographs and then there are doctored photographs, and you find you have to go to the original. And I think it was, I don't know if it's the Department of Parks and Recreation, the U.S. Forestry Service, somebody is given the task of performing the audit of the numbers. And of course, it was not anywhere close to Obama's crowd size. And from there, it simply got hyperbole piled upon hyperbole, exaggeration upon exaggeration, until the claims of truth are so far in the distant past, everything is accepted on face value, when of course you know it should not. Crowd sizes, yeah, it does matter. If you're trying to prove that our guy is really up there, look at the crowd sizes he's drawing. Bruce Springsteen filled the Wildwood, New Jersey, which has 20,000 in the area that they had designated for Trump. He fills the whole arena to the rafters. There were no arena rafters for Trump's rally. Bruce Springsteen sells out that venue at 80,000. That's the sold out. Trump's license was for 20,000, and it wasn't even that much. So proof is in the numbers. Numbers don't lie, but you can massage them. What's another zero here or there? I mean, what's the difference between 10,000 and 100,000? Just one zero. Oh, it's an accounting error. Do you remember Trump's famous defense for his fraud in New York? His accountants did it. He's not responsible for those reports. Blame the accountants. Blame somebody, but don't blame Trump. Exaggeration is part of the political game, I think. And that goes in Canadian politics too, where you can make all sorts of claims, but you better have numbers to back it up. And those numbers better not be your own. If those numbers you are using are coming from sources of your own partisan variety, they have no, or at least should have no, or very little credibility. So if I want to claim that something is working out to my benefit, then I use made-up statistics for my own purpose. But I try to do what most people should try to do, which is cite your source. Where are you getting your information? I have a sibling, and conspiracy theories are us territory, and I always ask for sources of information, especially when they say stuff like Democrats are going to be rounded up. There's 10,000 of them, including the Hollywood elites. Tom Hanks is going to jail. Hillary Clinton devours baby blood. Because, of course, you get that super chromosome-based stuff from their eating their livers or something. And you go on to the Pizzagate scandal. You go on to the Cosmo Pizza, where the basement was supposed to be child pedophile ring, and kids were kept there, and it doesn't even have a basement. Stuff like this goes on and on. Well, then you get to the Canadian connection in all of this stuff, which is Alex Jones. Alex Jones hates, yes, I use that word, hates Trudeau. I'm not sure that anyone in the United States does not, at least on the far right. You go to a number of podcasters, and I'll use that word to describe Joe Rogan. He's really a media entertainer, and he brings out sensational stuff. That's what he does. He's an entertainer. I'm not sure about the facts. Fact deficit might be a word to describe some of his shows. Other shows are pretty straight up investigation. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? Have you heard of this? Have you heard of that? But the facts are the ones that usually are the stopping point in any discussion. What are your facts? Where did you get them from? And if you get them from a site that boasts alien conspiracy theories or flat earthers, then chances are the information is suspect. So Alex Jones supports Pierre Poilievre. That should stop us in our tracks. If Alex Jones supported me, I would pack up and close down the Jim and Terry show. There's something wrong if I'm not doing my job right. There's something wrong when Alex Jones supports me, and I would have to say I'm doing it all wrong if he supports me. Pierre Poilievre, that's a sound bite for you, and Alex Jones shows support Pierre Poilievre. There's something wrong. When Russia supports you, there's something wrong. when India interferes, when China interferes, when anyone interferes, and you don't do anything about it or you try to sweep it under the carpet, that's a bit of a problem. Talking points matter. Do you remember the claims in 2016 leading up to the 2016 election, how Russia disinformation, Russian-sourced media trying to influence the election? And the alarm was being sounded before the polling day, before November. People were getting upset, at least people who cared about election integrity got upset. But Trump would rather say, there's election fraud because illegals are voting. There's over 10 million votes. Illegal. Yeah, okay. So he struck a commission his first days in office to investigate election fraud by illegal ballots being cast. The committee was dissolved with no results being found. So much for the claim that Trump is losing. He's way more popular because illegals are voting Democrat. Yeah, it goes on like this. So a lot of similarities between the American political context in turmoil and the Canadian political context in turmoil. It all seems to stem from, and you can go back, and I just watched a Jordan Peterson episode where he had Rex Murphy on because I was doing a little bit of digging about Rex Murphy and found an episode. It was intriguing. That's a little sidebar note. What am I getting at is really that it stems from the belief that your freedom was being trampled on by an autocratic, communist/dictatorial leader, which was Justin Trudeau. And the Liberals are out to take away your freedom. And they point to gun control legislation. They point to, I don't know how this works for freedom. You're free to do crack in hospitals, say the Conservatives, and that the deaths are out of control in Vancouver and Calgary. And though there are problems, and it should be admitted, drugs in hospitals is not a thing. It's like being addicted to alcohol in the emergency room. Yes, they confiscate alcohol when you enter an emergency care and you've got a brown bag with you in your bottle, but they give it back when you're treated and released. It's not their property, and their job is not to manage your drug intake. The job is to treat you for your symptoms. Symptoms? Russian disinformation. Where's it going? The Conservatives, GOP, the same playbook. Whose advantage is it if Trudeau, who's hard on Russia, goes down? If Biden goes down? It's all fake numbers. Find the numbers. Numbers don't lie. However, they can be massaged. The Jim and Terry Show. Fake news and numbers. Springsteen versus Trump. Who are you going to trust? Ghostbusters. Bye-bye.